Steven, I watched the Super Mario movie this week. Have you seen it? Have you seen
What,
Super Mario?
the original one?
The 1993
John
Bill
Leguizamo?
John Leguizamo. Yes, have you
Yes.
seen this movie?
I haven't seen it since I was probably like 10, but I have seen it.
Okay, first of all, you have to rewatch it because everyone should watch this movie. It's insane. It's like completely bonkers. If you watch that movie, if you watch that movie having never played a Mario game, you're like, that game must be crazy,
It
right?
must
Like,
be
I don't know
so
what this is.
wild.
If you watch that
Was
movie,
it Dennis Hopper was Bowser, right?
yeah.
They had like some real talent in that
Dude,
movie.
that movie was like the cast of it, fantastic. The budget of it was pretty great. For some reason, the entire movie, sloppy, crazy nonsense. It makes
The
no sense.
Goombas were like 8 foot tall or something too,
Even the
weren't they?
Goombas were like 9 foot tall guys with like giant bodies and teeny tiny heads. Not
Yes.
that that's in the game at all. That's not what they are. I don't know where they got this. I don't know where they got most of the stuff. And one of the things that blew my mind, Steven, I just wanted to bring up to you. Okay. In the movie, okay, there's Daisy, who I guess is modeled after Princess Daisy, but it was Daisy. She,
Was Daisy the character even present in
I
Mario
don't
games at that
think so.
point?
I don't know. I just I like
Did
I
the movie create Daisy?
it might have because it did. I'm pretty sure it also solidified the fact that the Mario brothers' last name is Mario because that's the only thing that makes sense. So Super Mario's name has to be Mario, just
Yes.
logically, which is crazy but hilarious and also confirmed. What else is confirmed, Stephen? Daisy is an orphan. She's someone who is brought, and she doesn't know, but she was brought from the dinosaur world, which exists in a different dimension because there was a meteor that struck the Earth and somehow split our dimensions. It all makes sense. It's very scientific.
And dinosaurs continued existing on
Yes,
this
dinosaurs
world.
continued to exist and also evolve. So much so, and in such a fashion that they somehow perfectly mirrored humans to the greatest.
Look like
Like,
how a
pretty
monkey
much
would eventually look.
exactly how like an ape would look. So anyway, so Stephen, this woman Daisy, she's orphaned as a baby. You know, she's dropped in front of in this orphanage. These people raise her. She doesn't know who her parents are. She eventually meets Mario and Luigi, and she says to them that she doesn't know who her parents are. And Luigi says, "Oh, you don't know who your parents are either? Neither do I." Now, he doesn't say we, Mario and Luigi, don't know who our parents are. He says, neither do I. This guy has been my mother my whole life. And he's talking about Mario. So he's like, this guy's been my mother and my father and my brother my whole life. Now, Steven, he doesn't say, neither do we. We don't know who our parents are.
He excludes his brother. He excludes his brother from.
Excludes him completely. And he says, I don't know who my parents are. And then he goes on to say, this guy has been like my mother my whole life. So, okay, are they even brothers in this movie? Or are they adopted father and son?
Is it like a good friend? Is it just like
It
a
seems they don't go into it at all. But that's all you have. And of course, yes, if you want, you can say like, oh, what are you being like? You're being obtuse, or you're being dense. Like he's saying that they were both orphaned or both lost their parents early, and don't like for some reason he doesn't remember them. That's not what he says. He specifically says he doesn't know who his parents are. Not that they lost their parents at an early age. Not that both don't know. It was blowing my mind because I was like, wait, dude, it's called the Super Mario Brothers, and to
your
start off,
brothers, bro?
the first thing he says about Mario to this woman is, "That's my mother." It's Super Mario
That's my
Brothers.
mama.
Like, yeah, it's like
My
what?
super mother brother.
I just thought it was
The
so
new
funny.
game.
So if you've never seen that movie, go watch it and make sure you go check my math. Comment below and let me know what you think their relationship is because I need to
And
know.
he's standing right there, right?
He's
So
standing right there.
there's no reason to exclude him from.
100%. Not only is he standing right there, he's like right over his shoulder, like the angel on his shoulder, like talking him through the whole thing. The movie is bonkers. None of it makes sense. But that kind of like creates this weird. It kind of makes sense. In the fact that where it's like, okay, why would his name be Luigi Mario? Why is it Mario? Maybe they were both orphans and they're not actually brothers and they found each other. Like I don't know, but I think it's so interesting.
Found
They're
familia.
found family. family, which is great, but also like say it. Let's talk about this. I want to know this
This
backstory
is a this is one of the greatest philosophical discussions of our time. You can't just bring this up in a quick conversation, Luigi, and not delve into this.
Absolutely not. Throw a mushroom on this thing. It's got to grow. We need more. Eat a fire flower because it's catching on. Anyway, let us know what you think. If you have any movie suggestions for us to talk about and like to watch and like give some reviews on, let us know below and we'll let you know. Otherwise, Steven, let's get into the issues this week. Let's start the show.
Let's do it, baby.
Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
Every week, my best friend Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues and obstacles that life throws our way in order to publish books and get our various creative projects done. Steven, it's been a busy freaking month, year, week.
Yes.
I feel like it's been a month, a week, a year. It's been getting crazy. Like time is slipping by. It's been, yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's just I think it's just it's crazy how life just gets like it just finds ways to fill everything, like every weekend, well, I think it's just working like as much like as I do, and then the weekends come and it's like I gotta make sure I do so. Like I went and saw Mission Impossible this weekend with Tina and the kids, and like I do my best because I know like I'm just like a sack of death when I get home from work. Like I'm not like not mean or anything, but I don't have any love. Like I don't have a lot.
No, you're like despondent, right? Like you're not you're there, you're not there. Not present as you should. I know that. Everyone's experienced that. And like I feel like it's one of those things that like, I'm sure there are people out there who are trying to like high road everyone or like shame people for that. But like, dude, we only have so much like energy and we only have, you don't have the spoons for it or whatever they want to say. Whatever platitude, whatever you want to say. But
and then it's like you try to steal that time back too. Like so like I stay up late watching stuff with Tina, and then it just perpetuates the cycle. But then I don't get that. I don't get any time with Tina if I don't, and then it's just life. It's just life as mid to lower mid class. I get whatever we are.
It's so true, dude. Like I have that like with Atlas. Like even today, I was just like, I want to ride bikes and do all this stuff, but then it's just like there's always something else to do, and then like things pop up. You have to clean the house, you have to do freaking laundry, you have to do everything. You have to work on things like for money to bring money into the house, and then it's just like before you know it, it's like oh my god, it's already dinner time. I have to make dinner. Oh my gosh, we didn't really. Let's do something, and that you're always looking for like that little appropriate time because it's just so hard to manage everything, like juggle human existence. Steven, how we freaking do it. But I will say, in the world's worst segue, Steven, we figure out a lot of life, the universe, and everything. We have some answers for how this stuff is done because despite everything, we find a way to get things done. We have produced a good number of comic books. We have written scripts. We have made music videos. We have done all these things. We've written novels that are going to come out soon. All kinds of fun stuff. So people see that and they see that although we're struggling just like everyone else, we do find ways to have answers for some of these issues.
Tough times in life.
They are. But people occasionally ask us questions. They want to know because they're like, "Oh, you guys have been doing this. You guys have been making this show for 5 years. Either you're crazy or you have some answers." And the answer, the truth, is both, right?
It's a great mixture of both. Sometimes one is more potent than the other in the batch of punch we make with those two ingredients. Yeah. But yes, it's definitely both.
Yeah, so this week, we do have a good number of questions from people who have listened and watched and just like wanted to participate in our show in one way or another. So I thought this would be a good week to just have a fun, short show where we just answer some questions, get to let people know who we are, what we do, and also answer some, unique questions from the colony. So just like every time we do this sort of segment,
literally every time,
my best friend Steven here, word for word, says the exact same amazing theme song. Just it's always perfect every time.
It's singular. It is the one thing I do right.
If there's ever world peace, it's going to be because the right people hear this song. It's
just like you're just walking through the woods and you hear a grisly sound. So you go around the tree expecting to see a Bigfoot or three. Then you hear a faint laugh and a giggle and a roar. Then the campfire ignites in your face, and it's gotta get some more because you got some questions to ask these two boys that you've encountered in the woods. So you bottle up. No, not bottle. Break that shit open because it's questions from the colony with Stephen, Todd, and Anthony. They're gonna answer every question that you have. So ask them right now.
Questions from the colony. That was, and I know you say
Trademarked.
trademarked. I know you say the same thing every time, including my interruption. And it's always fantastic. I'm glad that you let me be a part of this majesty. It is wonderful. So we do have several questions from the colony. I'm going to start with the questions we got from X/Twitter. So I like the way this one starts, Stephen. So we have our good friend of the show, we're so thankful for all of you who join us week after week. If you're just visiting for the first time and you've never seen our show before, usually we tell some silly stories, some personal stories. We get to the bottom of some weird monsters in non-sexual ways, sometimes in a sexual way. It's a very weird, fun show. It kind of skirts the bounds of like silly and sincere. I think we're pretty good at it. Maybe I don't know. But what I do know is
Maybe we're the worst at it. It's
we
possible.
might be, but if we could be so bad that it's entertaining to watch, kind of like watching The
It,
Room.
it comes out the other end.
Right? Yeah, it definitely does. So sometimes we come out the other end, and we hope you're there when we do. So hit the subscribe button and stick around. If you've been there for a while, if you've been around for a while, we really do appreciate you. And Daly's one of those people, so thank you. So Daly says, regale us with your superhero origin stories, a quick recap of your creative beginnings and start of your comics together. So Stephen, we've done this before in the show, but we're on episode, in case you're wondering, 251. So like we've probably done this a couple of times. Let's give people like a previously on Anthony and Stephen.
I started drawing when I was like super little. I was obsessed. If you're a 90s kid, obsessed with Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. So I used to get my dad to try to draw me Ninja Turtles. And at one point, I think I was like 3.5, 4. My dad was trying to draw this turtle, and I was like, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. And that was like the beginning of where like my art skills kind of started surpassing my own dad's, and I just really like honed in. And then just like everyone else, Dragon Ball Z hit the American airwaves in the late 90s, and I was completely obsessed with Dragon Ball and would draw Dragon Ball all the time, which would later come back to haunt me. But at the time being, I used to impress people with my Dragon Ball drawings, things like that. First comic I ever worked on was with my best friend at the time, Tommy, who has since passed. But Tommy, crazy, hilarious. We came up with this concept because the Michelle was it Michelle Pfeiffer? What Lies Beneath, I believe the name of that movie was. I remember Tommy was spending the night at my house. My parents were watching What Lies Beneath. We were watching me, myself, and Irene on my TV VCR combo. And Tommy came up with What Lies Above. And basically the premise was our school has killer mutated baboons in the air vents that and we would literally draw these mutated baboons murdering our teachers and everything. And so thank God that like no one ever found that because it
Oh yeah.
truly was it's not like we were violent kids at all. It was just an expression of angst and things like that. But we never got found, but I think we made like 5 books. And now our books were like, each chapter was probably like 6 pages or something. But anyways, that was like my first foray into like storytelling through that storyboarding. And then I met Anthony. And when I met Anthony, that's when like he was like, "Hey, I like these things. You like these things. We should try to make stuff with these things." And I think was Absentees our first attempt? And then
Okay.
Scavengers? There,
Okay.
there
So
was like there was a double
no,
back to
remember we
Absentees,
did
right?
Pseudo Samurai also.
Pseudo Samurai was the true first one. You're
I
right.
think Pseudo Samurai is the very first. So like yeah, I wrote this idea called Pseudo Samurai about a very disgruntled office worker who just didn't like his job,
Douglas.
was stuck in a place. Yeah, pretty much. It was Douglas. It was like a prototypical death list, but it was like he was stuck in this day job that he really hated, and he really preferred to just live this fantasy life in which he was this samurai of, this honorable samurai who would go into the woods and wax philosophical and think about, just these deep existential, things. But really, he was just an office worker who would put a clip
Hmm.
on like
Little clip on hair.
little clip on hair, and he'd use a fire axe, and he would just go and just be silly. He was basically LARPing. But
Hmm.
what ended up happening was he discovered this robot in the, by mistake whose sole mission was to find the greatest warrior on Earth to be a part of this like test that was going to happen, and he mistook this man as the greatest warrior on
This
Earth.
LARPing fire
Just-
axe wielding samurai
yeah, so
as
and then hijinks ensued, and it was going to be really interesting. I liked it. It was a fun story, and we worked on it for a little bit, but it didn't really take off. And then we worked on, I think the next one was Absentees. I
like the
think
first go at
first go at
absentees because there
Absentees
was like I know I drew the frequency deaths like
three
him
times.
with the yeah there was like three separate occasions where they were in a circle of chairs to the point where I just knew how to draw people tied to chairs in a circle because
Yeah,
we literally drew that sequence I think three times.
yeah,
There was
for
one
sure.
times where I did it with the quill pen. There was the first go at it was with the pencils and the boards and that guy that looked like um
Is that Gylfanakis or no?
it wasn't no, that's what
Yeah,
Clancy
that was
ended up
what
looking
became,
like.
yeah.
But before he kind of looked like Fred Savage. You remember? Like the first iteration of him was like a very old Fred Savage, like older than what Fred Savage was when we worked on it. Like I predicted what Fred Savage would eventually look like. Um,
But
but yeah, so the absentees, but then I think the first like one that we really got some solid pages done on was Scavengers though,
yes,
right?
so
That was the one.
Scavengers was our first like real, like sincere attempt to get something that we could actually send out to publishers and stuff. And we worked on a good chunk of it. We got what was it, like 7 pages done of
Yeah,
that.
it was like the basically like this just a really great staging for the story. And
Yeah.
honestly, I look back on like everything that came in Hollywood since we were like really like if you know if I was just a little better in my technique or something like our that post-apocalyptic concept with like a mutated group that's like suffering from a disease, dude, it would have like blended right into the mid 2015
It,
2016 era. We really would have like
yeah.
caught that jet stream.
Yeah, I
um
know. But like whatever. We were learning and so like we kind of
yeah.
failed. We have a few failed attempts where we were kind of like false starts. We were like, almost there, but not quite. And then, life kind of found a way to just like get in the way, we just had jobs, relationships, eventually we had children, all sorts of,
Mm.
just life. Steve and I, like for the most part, we've been friends forever. We have had like a section of time where we weren't like close and then like didn't really
Mm.
talk much. And then after I went through a very bad breakup with my son's mom, Steven was kind and reached out to me and was like, telling me, of course, if I needed anything. And I was just like, yeah, what I need is for you to be on a show with me for the next forever, Steven. And he was like, okay,
And
I'll,
it's so funny how those kinds of friendships, even when they like split for that, even like because I think it was like a 2 or 3 year split. I
yeah,
hadn't seen you, and then yeah, it literally is just like pulling the pin out of something, and then it's like right back. And you were coming over playing music,
yeah,
Mike. We were all getting together, and then yeah, then the
like,
podcast and comic push came. And then that's where
yeah,
we
so
are.
then, but yeah, so basically what happened was Steven agreed to try one more time to make comic books with me. And we ended up making something that we were both really proud of. And we made this semi-autobiographical time travel graphic novel musical called Play It Again. You can pick it up on Amazon, it's still available. It was successful on Kickstarter and released as #1 in historical graphic novels. Steven, I still can't believe that we're historical
It's still
figures.
so funny and we had it for a little while too. I think it was like a week or so,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
we did. It was a while. And then it actually came back recently. I offered it for free for a little bit for like its anniversary, and people like took it for free and read it and stuff. So yeah, people seem to like that book, and it really kind of like inspired us to want to work on more stuff. So what we did was we pitched people a bunch of ideas, and we were like, these are the things we'd like to work on. What do you think we should do? And then people voted, and they voted for this idea, Deathless, and we've been working on it ever since. We are on issue 4 of that.
Yep.
We only have 2 more issues to go. We have issue 4 and issue 5, and then
Four
we
is in progress, temporary hold because we're working on a side project for a company. And then yeah, that's our story up to date basically. So
yeah. So I mean, we've been working on things for 20 years to get to the point where we are now. But like right now in the can, we have a graphic novella. We have 3 completed issues of our ongoing, or our what will be our mini series Deathless. We're on our second mini issue of Bloodlust. I have a novel that's coming later this year. We have,
mhm.
so that's
We have
where
a
we are.
pretty cool concept on the horizon. We obviously have to finish our plate first, But we do have a pretty cool concept on the horizon that
I'm
we are excited to
Dude, I'm
delve
super
into.
excited. Yeah, I can't wait to share that with everyone, let everyone know. Like we basically cooked this idea together while we were at the last convention that we did, and we were both like giddy excited about it. We're like, "Oh, this is going to be something special," and I love it. So I'm super excited for that, and that's definitely what we're working on next, right? Like
I think,
that's
yeah, I mean, that's got to be right. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. So
So anyway, that's
shy of like somebody like the
yeah.
Chris or somebody saying that he wants us to amp up production and pays us a crazy amount to just ignore our dreams, which I will gladly do, sir. No,
Listen,
I was kidding.
I need the money right now.
Yeah.
So that. Okay, Steven. So that's a quick recap of our creative beginnings and start of our comics together. So now let's see. Creature author asks. He says, "What non-dragon mythical creatures would you like to see utilized more in books, film, and TV?" Steven, what do you think?
Non-dragon mythical.
Non-dragon.
So get dragons out of the picture because
Yep,
like
no dragons.
you were gonna say dragons.
You're gonna say dragons. Don't say
Don't
dragons.
talk
Stop.
about
Stop
dragons.
bringing them up.
Minotaurs. I think minotaurs and sphinxes are underused, or not sphinxes. Minotaurs and the what the
Then-
chimeras.
Oh,
I was thinking,
chimeras. Ooh,
yeah.
okay, okay. I like that.
I do like a lot of the Greek era, like those kinds of beasts that they came
Yeah,
up with are really cool. Like
like
there's
a
a lot of cool.
manticore. Like where's
Manticore is really cool too.
manticore? Or like okay, like I'm with you with like the Greek mythology in general. Like I feel like we got what was it, Clash of the we got Clash of the
Well, I was
Titans.
gonna say, to be fair, I guess there was that Percy Jackson
And
and
we
all
get
that
Percy
stuff
Jackson.
too.
But then
So
that's basically the same story. Not that, I mean, yes, I get it. It's based off of the Greek myths, but I would like to see more use of the pantheon of characters in different narratives. You know, like
yeah, like you don't need to. We don't need to go old Greek gods and a
yes.
Minotaur.
And
Let's
it
put a
doesn't
Minotaur
always have
somewhere else.
Yes, and it doesn't always have to be all of the characters. In the same way that you don't always have to have Dracula with the Wolfman and the Mummy and the, although it's fun when that happens, sometimes you just want to see like, hey, let's go like MCU on this. Let's start with Iron Man. Let's see what it's like when the freaking like I want to see the story of the Minotaur. Like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
how did this guy like become this bull-headed maze warrior? I want to see that story first. Then maybe give me another story about like the centaur, and then maybe give me another story, and then yeah, you can build that world and eventually get to Thanos. Like that would be cool. I want to see them kill Kronos.
Zeus, like all or
Yeah,
Kronos himself.
like that's no that would be awesome. Who doesn't want to? Like I would love to watch that, but it doesn't have to be Percy Jackson. It doesn't have to be like let's throw them all like
It
the kids.
doesn't need to be this side monster that Percy has to fight right before he goes and really
Yes,
fights the real fight. You know,
yeah,
Medusas are cool too, but I feel like Medusa's gotten her fair share of screen time and
yep.
across all medias. But yeah, Minotaur and like Manticore, um, Chimera. What's like a good? I don't know. There's so many cool mythical creatures out there. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna stick with the Minotaur. The Minotaur is,
That's a
I
good
think
one.
it's cool. I like it.
All right,
Anyway.
let's see. Okay, then we got Cold Spot Paranormal Research asked, would you rather face a beholder, a dragon, or a lich in the dungeon?
Ooh. So since I don't have as much D&D knowledge as everyone, even though I'm playing it currently, beholders, from what I'm to understand, are pretty nasty suckers. I think things that because beholders can kind of like cause you confusion and things like that, right? Can't they
Yeah.
like do like
Um,
I imagine them as like the Malboro or whatever they are from Final Fantasy. Like whenever you would fight one, you would just
are
get
just deadly and like so just I'm gonna say I would personally go with the dragon, especially like depending on which dragon, sure. But dragons are magical, intelligent creatures in D&D. So I mean, if it's so, here's the thing: if it's not a magical, intelligent creature and it's simply just like a fire-breathing lizard monster, I think that's easier to fight than the Beholder, who can like shoot crazy beams that do various things and are it's insanely strong and massive and magical and crazy. And I don't want to deal with it. I don't feel like I feel like that thing would eat me. Whereas a dragon, I could escape if I had
what's
to.
it called? Lich. And the only way to kill a lich is if it's what's it called? The phylacter. What's that thing called?
I don't know.
Liches go back into it starts with a ph. I think it's a phylacter. I don't know how to pronounce it, but
It's an item containing its soul, so it's
yeah,
essentially the
I
soul.
know
Cool. Is that from?
Kel'Thuzad in World of Warcraft was a lich. That's why, because
I
World of
knew.
Warcraft just completely copies D&D. So
Of
like,
course.
and
Smart.
everyone does. Everyone in fantasy is either Lord of the Rings or D&D. That's where they've gotten
100%.
all their mythos is from. But yeah, I know of Kel'Thuzad, and I know he was a lich, and I'm pretty sure it's what liches do. And liches are always like really nasty and powerful and like super resistant to things.
Don't
And
want to deal with that at all.
I just imagine that a lich would be difficult in D&D. I imagine dragons are too, but like you're saying, It all depends on the variation of the dragon we're fighting, but
Not to
yeah,
mention, like you roll high enough, and your persuasion, and you might get out of there.
yeah,
I'm not going to
you
intimidate
might
that.
become Donkey from Shrek and
That's
marry the
exactly
thing.
true.
You
If
don't know.
Donkey can do it, I can do it. So
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying. But that was a good question. Okay, now, Steven, we have a lot of questions from our great friend Levi. Now,
Levi.
all right, now they say, okay, obviously there are a lot of questions here, and I'm very thankful for this. Levi, thank you so much for all these questions. I'm just trying to figure out like what's the best way to do this. You know what? Let's go through them. Not like we're gonna go quickly. Let's just answer naturally, okay?
Mhm.
So, Steven, what is your favorite bit of the show lore you've developed over our 250 episodes? What's our best lore that we have?
The ostriches are probably one of the strongest parts of it, considering the whole premise of like who we are as a group
Right.
becomes the colony of the ostriches.
That's
Van Helsing was really cool too.
that was fun. I really like the bucket verse and like
The
the
bucket verse was cool.
darkness of
I'm still not even like we joked about the bucket verse, but I'm actually still not even sure if like that really was like a universal shift that happened that day.
something happened.
Because
So for those of you joining us for the first time or who might not have been here during the bucket era, or at least the introduction of the bucket era, Stephen and I went on a
and
road
Brandon,
and Brandon and yeah, we were with people and we went on this road trip, and while we were on the road, a large
5
like
gallon bucket.
gallon bucket just appeared in the road and we ran directly over it.
It just fell out of the guy. Like I think it fell out of someone's truck, like a lane over, and it was doing the
And
flip thing, and it just hit my Jeep and
it was
just
so quick. It just happened so fast, and we
you're
were
going
all
75 miles, 80
we
miles an
were
hour.
going yeah, we were going at least 80 miles an hour, or like at least 75 miles an hour, and we were pretty sure we were like making jokes the whole weekend that that bucket killed us. We were like, that's it. There's no way we survived this. That happened too quickly, and there was no damage, and nothing happened, and we're all
No
fine.
one got hurt. There was no one on the, no one swerved. Nothing
Yep.
happened. So we definitely just phased into a different life at that
Yeah, so
moment.
I think we went from like Berenstain Bears to Berenstain Bears. You know? Speaking of which, Stephen, I will say, although I don't give any credence to like the Mandela stuff most of the time, not that I do with this one, but I do think this one's funny. Do you remember Hannibal Lecter when Clarice first walks up and sees him? Do you remember what he says?
Hello, Clarice.
Okay, so here's the thing. Everyone thinks that, right? He doesn't. He just says good morning. Um,
Hmm.
because
He
at the
wouldn't
moment
even know her name yet
he
at that
didn't
point,
know her
right?
name yet. It makes no sense for us all to say that. But I learned, and okay, so this is what happened. So I'm looking this up, and I say the same thing. I'm like, oh man, I thought he said that too. So I look it up, and apparently he doesn't even say the words "Hello, Clarice" in that movie at all, right? So I was like, how did this happen, right? And I guess he does say it in the second one, but what happens before the second one, Steven, is the funniest thing, right? So I ask my fiance, I ask KT, I'm like, hey, do you remember what Hannibal Lecter says to Clarice like when they first meet? And she says, dude, she says, "Hello, Clarice. It's so good to see you again." And I was like, that's so specific. I was like, that is insanely specific. That's not like a thing that you would just make up, right? But it occurred to me, Steven. And so I looked it up and I was like, I know where this is from. It's from the Cable Guy. We all think that
Oh, because of
because
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, because Jim
I've
Carrey
told Dude, it makes so much sense though, because I've told Tina that too. I think there's things that we remember improperly
from references.
because of spoofs.
Yep.
Yes, because of someone making a joke, and then you
Someone made
remember
a
the
reference.
joke.
Oh, it's so
Just
funny.
like, for example, he never says take my strong hand in Scary Movie 2, I'm pretty sure.
No?
No, he says take my hand. He's like, no, he's like, my strong, and I think but he doesn't say the take my strong hand that everyone
No?
always says. I'm almost positive that's the phrase. There's a weird
That's
thing
gonna hurt
there.
my heart. There's like I thought for sure he did. All right,
I
all right.
could be wrong about that. I could be just creating a new Mandela effect by saying
Yeah.
that. But no, there was another thing too where I realized I think it was like a commercial or something that did. I can't remember it, but I've been trying every time I see a Mandela effect, I do try to pierce it and find it. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Levi says, who would win in a fight of Cambria and Chase versus Atlas? Obviously, Cambria and Chase. There are two of them, and they're insane, right? I mean, like
They're just Atlas is such a well-behaved, sweet little
like,
boy.
come on,
And
but
my
they,
daughters, I
I,
love them. They
no,
are savages.
I will say they're savages. I will say, Steven, there's a good chance now that he's an orange, like he's an advanced orange belt, and he does know a bunch of like cool Taekwondo moves. I will say though, I think he'd be way reserved, and they would just go wild
He
on.
wouldn't. He would hold himself back.
That's what I think. I think so too. I think yeah, it's like when
The only thing I will say is something that I've noticed between my daughters is that Cambria reminds me very much of my sister Sarah,
yeah,
and as an older brother, getting slugged by Sarah was very painful. Like even as like
awesome.
I was way bigger than her, but
Yeah,
when you're younger, you clash more, and
yeah.
like yeah, she could. My sister Sarah is built. She's built like a Viking, so.
hmm Oh my God.
Cambria's got a similar frame, so Cambria's got some strength there. But Atlas, yeah, I think the only reason why Atlas would lose would be because he would be too respectful to hurt them.
Oh my
And
God. Yeah.
they would be like, sorry, this is the mission, Atlas, and they would just destroy him because of his.
It's just we have to do what we have to do.
Yep.
All right, so then they say, of course, so the next two questions are also like, let's pin people against people, because that's what Levi likes to do for some reason. So they say, how about KT versus Tina or the ultimate showdown, Anthony versus Steven? We don't want to fight, Levi. Why do you do this to us? Like, we all know it depends on the motivation and
I
who's.
guess if it was like I don't know, like I think Tina to be successful would have to enter her rage,
I,
Italian mode. But I just don't see Tina ever really being an aggressor. And Anthony Iron, even with my size, I'm not that aggressive. I don't need to be
we're,
aggressive.
we're not.
Like
We're not gonna fight, and here's the thing: I wouldn't let Steven talk negatively about himself to say he's gonna lose, and I'm not gonna admit defeat until I've been defeated. So what are you gonna do?
here's a great one. There was a song on Guitar Hero 2 called By Shadows Fall that Anthony and I were basically just
Yeah,
true evens at. One would best the other, and then the
that's the
other would
best.
best the other, and it was just a back and forth high score push between the both of us. We were so evenly matched on that song.
Oh, it's the
So I
best.
think that's your answer. Is it would be a tie.
Yeah, you know what? We're not gonna hurt each other. Okay, when will Anthony film a movie? You know what, Levi? Let me give you a quick update on something cool, actually. I have been playing, so I got this camera, and I've been playing
Ooh,
with the settings on the camera and learning all about it, and how to set the various the aperture and the ISO and the white balance and blah 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 all this stuff. So I've been learning how to do that and also color grading and. I actually did a test yesterday and it looked
that's
really good.
awesome.
Yeah, it looked really good. So I was like, oh, I'm really impressed by this, and like I can't believe it looks this cool. So I probably sooner than you think. But I want to keep doing some tests and get it to like so I'm confident in what I'm doing. But like so far, dude, like I'm really proud of like the way it looked. It looked really cool. It was very cinematic looking. So yeah, so soon, hopefully. All right, let me see it. So Levi asks, why do you think the show resonates with people, Steven? What do you think?
Ooh, I think one of the energies that it's not conscious. We don't do this like intentionally, but I think one of the things that has always benefited us is that we really do give off the vibe of like you tuning into a conversation between two people that love each other.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's what it is because I don't know, we just talk about things that we like with each other and we don't really talk on the phone because we're not phone talkers.
No, never.
So this is usually this podcast is really just Anthony and I hanging out because we
Yeah.
didn't this week we saw each other for D&D, but usually prior to D&D, like this is literally the only time Anthony and I ever saw each other was the podcast. So it was just an organic view into how our conversation would go if there wasn't a camera rolling. So
Yeah, I feel like the people it does resonate with probably relate to some of the various struggles that we go through, or at the very least, like the level of struggles and issues that we have, be it like parental struggles or just like relationship struggles or just like creative struggles, and knowing the juggle of time and the weird like just perpetual nonsense, the chaos that life throws our way, and seeing other people go through it and kind of shake their feet, shake that quicksand from their feet and continue forward. I think that resonates with people and makes people feel like, hey, they can do it too. And the fact that we're here literally for the last 5 years trying to support other indie creators and like, show up for our friends whenever we can. And I think like building a community like that, like just by its own nature, just it tends to build itself. That's what a community is. I think it resonates with people who want to be a part of something like that, and that's good.
mhm.
We just have like this small community of people. It's not resonating with everyone. We're not like having millions of followers or anything. We can't monetize this or anything, but we do have like a really
a
cool
really
thought.
great net of
Really,
friends and basically found family that
yeah. So
support us in endeavors and at least make our dreams come to print and assist us in like producing these things. So
yeah, I don't, yeah. So I think like it resonates as far as like we kind of harmonize with the weird dissonant lives of other people. It's just like everyone's going through their own thing. We're talking about generally whenever we go through things. And sometimes, people want to just avoid the big like social everything, of like wars and social problems and like inequality and all of that stuff. And just talk about basic human, like down to earth, day to day stuff that individuals feel rather than society feels. And that's really what we're talking about is what we feel as individuals and friends and what we're going through. And I think it's not easier, but it's closer to the heart, and people relate to that stuff and it, resonates with them. So I think that's probably it.
mhm.
Also, people like to watch me flounder. No, I don't know.
They love wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men.
Just woo. Okay, let me see. How can fans help you succeed, Stephen? What can the fans do? What can the fans do, Stephen?
Just honestly, buy our comic books.
That's really
Read
it.
them.
Buy our books.
Love them. But more so, do what Levi does and spread that love to your communities. Because I'm going to be honest, Levi does the best job with that.
100%, Levi. Thank you. We like that's really what you can do. What you can do is share this video right now. Share your favorite episode somewhere. It doesn't have to be the newest episode. You don't have to always share the newest one. Share. You don't even have to share your favorite. Share what you think someone else's favorite might be, or like a
Mhm.
moment. If you ever see an episode and you're like, oh my God, this conversation about Pixar would like make this person laugh. Share that one moment with them, and maybe we'll win them over. Like that's what it
Mhm.
is. But yeah, just like try to share our show when you can. Otherwise, just like let us know when you think we're doing an okay job because we don't know. We're trying. Comment, always comment below. It does help. The algorithm reads all that stuff. But yeah, like Steven said, if you buy our books and just support the people in our circle, like the if you go and support, if you like Tremors, go support Levi's Facebook page and Levi's awesome podcast, Tremor Saga and all that stuff. Go support the friends
Don't
of.
make it weird. Like, yeah,
My God, like if you go right now,
so
go
much talent in the Don't Make It Weird podcast. So
100. They're like our best podcast friends. Like it just if you support the people who support us, all the things will continue to rise and our community will grow together and it's just gonna perpetuate and it's great. And that's really what you can do if you want to help us. Let me see. Will you ever let me be on your show? Yeah, sure. At some point, Levi. I don't know. You have something you want to sell? What? I know what Levi wants to do. Levi wants to come on a show and try to make us cry or something. Steven wants to make.
Levi knows how to cut to the core.
So, but yeah, we'll
If
talk.
not, we can definitely pop back on Tremors soon. That was fun.
That's true. Yeah, you're gonna have us on your show. All right. Let me see. Levi. They ask. Is there anything you wished you have done differently in regards to the show? This is not me ribbing Anthony. My what's your biggest regret question. What do you wish we had done differently, Steven, with the show?
With the podcast, I don't know. But with the comics, I wish I would have poured more effort in on like the first go of like absentees or scavengers because
That's fair.
even though I didn't think I had time then, I definitely had more time then than I do now.
Oh, it's
And I
crazy.
still, it's just how life is. You I say that I could make better time of 22-year-old Steven, but 22-year-old Steven had whatever
Ooh.
22-year-old Steven was going on. So like, but yes, I do wish I had poured more time into my art then and really like delved into it because I'd be much further along now. But what can you do? You can't look back, you can only look forward. I can't change what has been. I can
Oh,
only
dude, of
change what
course.
is.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to, search for things to wish we did different. I mean, I'm glad we are where we are now and we're moving forward, trying our best. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to do things to progress the movie situation, my novel situation, our comic situation, like everything we can. We're continuing to move forward using what we have, and I'm proud of us. I know we've made like weird missteps. Like I probably could have like oh yeah, one thing I wish I guess they said for the podcast. I was gonna say like for the last Kickstarter, I feel like I could have done better with some of the imagery on the Kickstarter to get
Mm.
people more excited about it. And I'm gonna do that next time. I've
I
learned
want to do like a full song for the next Kickstarter, I think. I want to do like a nice theming, especially now that it is getting more barrel driven.
yeah.
I've always wanted to kind of like do like a little barrel trailer, like where we kind of show like through the perspective of like the doll.
Oh, that'd
and
be
then
cool.
like using like the glockenspiel, and then it's just like what, and it's just like just the chaos of like the energy coming into that bear and like
Oh
I
man,
don't know,
that's
something cool.
I love that. I definitely want to do something cool for the next one. We need to just get as much energy into it as possible and just get some, get people interested.
Hmm.
Let me see. What's the next question? Oh, have you used the IMDb Pro info to reach out to Kevin Smith? I haven't. I'm really bad with doing that stuff and it makes me nervous. I did think about like just messaging him on Instagram, honestly. But no, I haven't done that.
What was
Um,
it, episode 200 we were trying to get him on, or was it 100? I can't even remember.
it started with a 100, and then yeah, we talked about it with 150, and he didn't respond. So I'll message him, and I don't know. I'll try.
Jamie Newlander.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah, around there.
Jameson Newlander? Yes.
Let me see. Okay. Would you rather be famous or rich, Stephen?
Rich.
I would rather be
Because
rich. It's not even
I
close.
am not someone who needs fame. Like, I don't need that. But if I was rich, like, I really do want to build, not like a commune, but
Yeah,
I really want to buy a big piece of land
yeah,
and just
100%.
have cool shit on it. Like, I want to have like a sound stage on it where we can
Uh,
play shows, like
yes.
people we know can just put their like there's
Yes.
already
I would love
equipment
you
on
to have like a
stage and we just
venue
have
for
like a mini arena venue, like
yes.
a
That'd be so.
thousand people could stand there if they wanted to types of venue, or something like that. Like just I don't know, just like a really cool house that like everyone I love. Like if I was a billionaire, I would legit buy like acreage and build homes for like every member of my family and my
Yeah.
friends, and just have everyone live in like our own streets with our own
Yeah.
names and
Oh, that'd be
just
so
live in
amazing.
my own world.
Yeah, just your
That's
own.
what I've always wanted. But yeah, so
100%.
definitely rich over famous. I don't really care if people know my name as long as my
Some of my best friends don't even know my name.
yeah, that's true.
So let me see. All right, Steven. Levi wants to know, do you know how much you are loved?
Mm, I I feel like I do. I feel like I don't over or underappreciate how much I'm loved. Like I know like Tina is like my ride or die. Like she is my best friend.
Kill
Sorry, Anthony.
it.
My children love me. They like, they run out to my Jeep when I open the garage and
Yeah.
things like that. And like Anthony and KT love me. And I know, Levi, that you love me. You love me so much. And everyone that we've met through Twitter, like I've made such strong friendships with. So yeah, I don't think I underestimate the love that I'm given. I'm sure just like any human being, I definitely second guess my own worth at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like I feel the love and I love the love.
This is a very important question. Are you happy?
Overall, I am a happy person. Do I have days just like anyone else? Sure. But like, I love my wife. I love my family. I love my friends. I love the things I work on. My job, of course, I like, even though it's hard, I still love like the labor is still rewarding in its own way, being as active as I am
Mhm.
outside and things like that. So like, no, I'm happy. I'm a very happy person, I would say, even with all the tragedy that has been, baseballed right at my face in these
My
last
God.
few years. It's crazy, but yeah, no, I'm still a relatively happy person.
Good. Levi also wants to know, can you hear what I hear?
Yes.
Um, Levi
Can
said,
you hear what I
so,
hear?
okay, the next question is, if you become rich and famous right this instance, what's the first thing you're going to do, and where do you go after that? I think we just answered that, kind of.
Yeah, I'm because that's literally if I was like rich to the point where
That's
like if it's $1 million, it's different. But like if I'm like rich, like if I'm like money bags McGee over
right.
here, I'm building that. That's my first order of business is to build that.
So the way I met Levi was through this podcast called Harmontown. It was Dan Harmon, the writer of and creator of Community and co-creator of Rick and Morty and such, had a podcast called Harmontown. So Levi knows that I love Dan Harmon. And they ask, would Dan Harmon be proud if he saw how far you've come? And the answer is no, of course not. Like Dan wouldn't care. He'd be like,
Dan
oh,
Harmon hates me
yeah,
as a
he hates my
person.
guts. No, but Dan Harmon would just be like, I built myself from the dirt. I pulled myself up, and you're still in the dirt, and I don't care." You're like, and like doesn't care about me. If he did, he would call. No, he'd text me because he knows I hate phones.
If you
Let me see.
truly loved me, Dan Harmon, you would
If
text
you love
me.
me, you text me,
You
Dan
would
Harmon.
text me your praise.
Here you go. Has this show done what you wanted it to do? If not, how would you go about that? Okay, Steven. I think initially the concept of the show and the goal of the show was to get our first book published. So in that case, yeah, we were totally successful. It did. Um, but I think it's evolved since then, and now it's basically just like a way for us to hang out, a way for us
Mhm.
to keep people aware of our various projects and give them updates and just kind of like hopefully get our creative projects in the public eye, right? I mean, I what is our true goal of this show beyond like I obviously want to build a
It really,
community, but what
we've had this conversation like 1,000 times, right? I feel like the goal of what the podcast is versus what is it varies. Like at some points the podcast really is the thing that pushes the comics forward, and then other times the comic, like it's every like the
it is
would it
funny.
be would it be nice if the podcast provided supplemental income because it's viewed by enough people to provide us with that? Sure. That
See,
was at some point a partial goal or a goal of the podcast
okay,
for sure.
so yeah, I was okay. Let me interrupt just for 1 second. I'll just say because like to that we've worked on that, right? If you see like our our like cold opens and stuff and the way we kind of like craft the episodes, a lot of that is super effective. And if we want, we can kind of whittle some of the show and create a like somewhat formulaic chaos that does get more views and is that does work to get more watch hours for us. That does push us toward getting monetized in some way. That being said, it's a different project in and of itself, and when we end up doing that, it tends to take
Polls.
it takes more time and it takes away from the time we have to work on the actual projects that we're trying to work on here.
Yeah, because there was like points in time, like especially like early, not early on, but like probably in the hundred, we've seen episode 100 and 200. There's this wax and wane of us, like especially Anthony, because Anthony's really like 99% of the podcast. Just the amount of time and effort that he would start pouring into that, and he would see it pull from like just
Yeah.
from the main point, and then you ask that philosophical question. Well, is the podcast creating the comics, or are we creating comics for this podcast? Like, what's happening anymore?
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is we want to become storytellers. So what makes the most sense is that we efforts go towards comics, movies, storytelling,
Mhm.
although the podcast could be a form of that. But regardless, yeah, the podcast goal overall is to maybe make us some cash, but to really just give us an outlet to talk about our issues that we're while working on issues
Yeah.
and push our comic and storytelling agenda,
Yeah,
basically.
and I think because of that, the podcast is doomed to succeed. We can't fail at the podcast because the whole purpose of the podcast is to talk to each other about the issues, and we do that every week, and we've done that
Mhm.
without fail every week.
Never missed a week.
So it's fantastic. We've never missed a week. So yeah, it has been successful in that way, but we do have more to do because we're always going to want to tell more stories, and we have more stories to tell, and you're going to hear them week after week if you'd like to. Okay, let me see. And then Levi says, "All right, fuck it, I'm done. You two are great. I love you. Keep kicking ass. Take
We
chances.
love you,
Drive fast.
Levi, so
See you
much.
in 250 more episodes from now." Awesome. Okay, thank you, Levi. Oh, okay. So those are all of our questions. Thank you so much for everyone who asked questions, and thank you for everyone who stuck around through all the answers. I know it has been a little bit longer than I expected. But this week we're just gonna get out of here after the Q&A. But we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of the colony. If you have an extra $1 million or so, feel free to send it our way. We would really,
Let
really
us build this actual
we
colony.
would really like to build this colony. But no, we really do appreciate you, and we're so thankful for you. Like we said during the Q&A, if you have it in you to share the podcast with like anyone at all, or want to share any various episode, if you want to go and blanket Kevin Smith with our show and be like, hey, you should talk to these guys, talk to these guys, talk to these guys, and pester him until he hates us, that would also make me happy. I'm just saying. Stephen, is there anything you'd like to say to the people before we go?
Thank you so much. The fact that we had that much time to dedicate to questions is awesome. I
Yeah.
love it. I love you guys. I love you, Anthony. Thank you for starting up the engine on this one last time back in 2020. And here we are in 2025 still working on stuff. So
Heck yeah, dude.
cheers to you. Cheers to everybody.
That's right. Yeah, and thank you all for making it an incredible 250 episodes. It really has been awesome, and I'm looking forward to the future. Like I said, I've been testing this camera stuff, and like I've been getting really motivated despite all the financial issues and stuff. I'm just like I need to do this. And because I think that's part of it. I think part of me, I'm just like, listen, this is it. Like, I need to just do this. I need something to work out. I can't do this anymore. I don't want to go work at some retail store where I'm gonna like feel my soul get sucked out of my butthole. I don't want that. I just can't do it. I think I'm good enough of a storyteller to do these things, and I'm going to do it one way or another. And we're doing it with the comic books, and I think we can do it with the movies. I'm going to release a novel this year, so I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I'm thankful for everyone for giving us a chance, and I'm so thankful for everyone for showing up for us week after week. So if you're here for this long, just know that we freaking love you, and we're thankful for you. Anyway, Steven, what are you gonna do this week?
I'm gonna keep pushing through the pages of Bloodlust. I'm gonna aim for. I'm gonna give myself a more realistic goal of 2 pages. That way, I actually get 2 full pages done. But
Nice.
I want to do more. But we'll
Awesome.
see what the weekend brings because the week I never know what the
It's
weekend's gonna bring.
always crazy,
So
dude.
it's
Um,
Friday nights that I really need to hone in on because if I can just convince myself that no, just start drawing because I just want to check my brain out on
I
Friday night because
know.
it's finally the work week's over and everything. But if I can, you because Tina works, so I would literally have
Uh,
this huge block of time. But anyways, I
no, dude.
digress. I want 2 pages this week.
I'm the same. I'm gonna try to finish up the coloring the pages you've given me. I do have like a commission I have to draw, and then I have
Awesome.
like this beta read that I have to finish. Um, but otherwise, like I should be able to catch up. So we'll talk to you guys. We'll let you know how we do next week. Wish us well, wish us luck, and hopefully we all get all of our stuff done. Hopefully you get your stuff done. But thank you again, thank you so much. Until next time, I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next week.
Recording in progress.
Recording progress, Steven.
It's
It's
letting me know so that way he can't catch me.
all I'm gonna do.
Anthony's gotcha.
It's
Gotcha.
Anthony's gotcha interviews from now on. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. So where were you on that night, Steven? Just wait, what?
Dude, I got bit by an ant on my thumb while
Oh no.
working and
Oh,
doing pavers. And I'm not, Tina's actually allergic to ants. I don't know if you knew that. It's like really bad allergic
I
reaction.
thought it was like mango.
It is mangoes and ants.
Yeah, I didn't know
And
ants.
then I don't think it's confirmed. I forget which antibiotic it is, but
Yeah.
one of those her dad's allergic to, so she's never taken it. It's
Ooh, oh,
starts
like
with a B though. It's not like one of the main ones.
okay,
Well, it is a main one, but not the like. It's not penicillin. It's like one of the
okay.
other ones.
Oh, okay. Weird.
Yeah.
Terrible. Awful.
To my knowledge, I'm not really allergic to anything like that. Like,
Right.
obviously, I have some sort of
Yeah.
pollen allergen or something
The
like that
worst.
that causes my cats. Cats. I learned that like I'm not as bad as you, but
Right. Yeah.
once I didn't have cats anymore, I realized how much better my breathing situation was. So
It's,
I'm like, oh, so I
yeah,
was
it's
allergic
crazy.
to
It's
cats.
crazy how quickly we all get Stockholmed by animals. You know, it's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, no, no, I'm used to not breathing. No, no, you're allergic to cats. You need to just get away from those foul
Yes.
creatures.
And I've learned since Eleanor has passed away, I learned that I think I was lightly allergic to like the dog dander, like the greasiness of a dog.
Right.
Samuel being a husky, he it's funny, he has more fur, but it's less dandered fur, if that makes any
Right.
sense. It's like Eleanor's hair, I would wake up red faced sometimes, and it's because she has like she had that short, fine pit bull hair, and that would
Oh,
just mess me up.
God, yeah. Um, oh yeah, that's the worst, dude. I still remember like when I realized how allergic I was to like cats, I was like it was so bad. I don't know if I told this story like on the podcast, but I remember I was like 14 and I had
Mm.
friend, you know, like I was 14 and I had friends who were like 15, 16 and what, you know, my one friend, Dominic, he could drive and so he would just drive us around,
It's the
right?
best, dude. We had Rob Diver, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And so he would drive. I wasn't like very close with him, but I was really close to my friend Mike, and they were friends, you know. So I went with them, and they were like, we're gonna go to this house, and there are gonna be these girls, and we're all gonna hang out. And I was like, girls, oh man,
Hells yeah.
yeah, let's do it. I don't know what to do with my hands. But Stephen, when we got there, it turns out it was just like a girl's house. It's not like there was a
Mm.
party or anything. It was just my friend Mike,
It's like a
like,
bunch of dudes competing for this one
yeah.
girl's
So, well,
attention.
yeah, so naturally, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not going to be me. I'm going to go stand over here awkwardly by the car because we're just sitting outside while my friend talks to this girl that I guess he likes. Um, So while I'm sitting there, just like fumbling around, searching for meaning in the void of this girl's front yard, um, a cat comes by, and I'm like, "Oh, look, a cat!" And I'm like petting this cat, dude. Within a couple of minutes, I am just like my eyes are completely shut, right? My eyes are completely shut. I'm like I have the goo coming down the corner. My nose
You're
is
like,
dripping. I look like Gollum. Like I'm straight just like I hope she's your precious because like this friendship isn't mine anymore. Like I'm gonna throw myself in a volcano to end this movie. What is happening?
something's killing me. I'm not quite sure yet. I think
Yeah.
it's the
And
cat.
and it was funny though because she also had a dog, and I remember thinking like I'm allergic to one of these things. I don't know which one. Turns out it was definitely the cat. But yeah, so side note, 14, like 15, 16-year-old boys, I don't know if you know this about them, lack empathy. Like since like fully.
They're devoid. In fact, some of them never grow out of that. They just
Oh, that's
maintain those levels of lack of empathy all the
100%
way through
villainy.
adulthood.
Oh my gosh, Steven, like the way my friends did not care that I was dying. I was just, and these aren't just like passing friends. The one guy, Dominic, not a good friend. He was actually a terrible friend. I have one of my least favorite human stories specifically with that person, which is very interesting. I should tell it just because we're on the subject,
It's
but
funny because I actually associate the name Dominic with negativity,
do
not
you?
because the kid was a problem, but the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop would say the kid's name in such an aggressive way that the name Dominic was just frightening to me. It just it just incurs like this deep-seated fear, I guess.
Oh my God. So dude, okay, so Dominic, I wasn't very close friends with him. I was really close friends with Mike. He was basically my best friend at the time. Like I was, for years.
Cheating whore. No, I'm just
Yeah, it
kidding.
was before we met, Steven.
I know.
But I will like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll put this at the end of the episode or something. Dude, this is a true story, okay? This is a true story freaking Dominic did, okay? This is why I never liked this guy. I never liked him, and like
Dominic, you had a car, and that is the extent of your
well,
gifts.
Well, you know what it was, Steven. You know what it was? I was best friends with Mike, right?
Hmm.
And then he went to high school the year before me, and he
Ah, that's the
became
worst.
best friends with Dominic. And I was still there, and like we're still friends, but I'm like, I can tell what's happening here. I'm gonna be left
I
behind.
can see what's
I see
happening.
what's happening, and they don't have a clue. Yeah, they'll fall in love and leave me behind. Or yeah. So
Our
anyway,
duos down to
dude, so that's exactly what happened. They eventually, like, they were doing that. But while
Mm.
it was happening, we had like some good times. We had like house parties and various things. But one thing that happened that was kind of like the catalyst to me being like, okay, never mind. I never want to see you again. To like Dominic in particular. There was a band called Stretching FM. It was a local band, and it was like we knew the people in the band. They were friends with Dominic and Mike, and they introduced me, and we, like I just like we'd go see local shows with
Yeah.
Mark Davis and everyone
Let's
else.
go exploring
It's always
or
fun,
Crimson
yeah,
Tide or
exactly. Except for Stretching FM, um, ended up playing a show with Tenacious D, and it was like this big deal, and it was really
that's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, so anyway, they were like it was they were like actually, although they were a local band and I knew them, I was like they were one of my favorite bands. When I was 14 years old, I was like this is like one of my favorite bands and I love supporting it. It's a local band. I know these guys, like it's like Tim and Nick and all these like and they're freaking awesome. Steven, I don't know if you recall, but there was this thing called AOL Instant Messenger AIM,
Hmm.
where like you
Hmm.
chat with people. You used to chat, but before like we were all texting all the time because like we're grandpas. We used to like get on the computer and we talk to each other. And if you knew someone's username or like their handle or whatever, you could just message them in the
Yeah,
wild.
it was the Wild Wild West. Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
free,
like
it's
AIM
free
just did
real
it.
estate, baby.
So So I get a message from someone who's like I forget exactly what the handle was. It was something like Tim FM or something like well, something like that. And I was like, or like stretching Tim or something like this, something that sounds very sexual. No, no, but
You ever have a Tim job? Oh
you
my
have to ask.
God.
You can't afford it. So dude, so I get this message from this guy, and he says, "Hey, dude, it's me, from Stretching FM. I wanted to let you know that like." our guitarist is quitting, he doesn't want to be in the band anymore for whatever reason, and we're looking for someone new. And he's like, I know you play, I know, like, you're looking, to like get in a band or something. So, dude, 14-year-old Anthony, by the way, I've
This
only
is
met,
so fucked up already because I already low key am
oh, of
following the
course you know
story,
what's happening. You know
and
what's
like
happening.
that
So,
is just so shit.
Steven, 14-year-old Anthony, right? I am no, here's the thing. I'm not saying I haven't grown as a human being. I'm sure I was a lack of empathy. Like I know everything. Yeah, I'm edgy and cool, like 14-year-old. However, I will say in that moment, I literally, Steven, I was like, I don't think I could fill that guy's shoes in that position. Like you might have to find someone else because honestly, he's one of the best guitarists I've ever heard. And I was like, I was like, maybe I could fill in for rhythm if someone else wants to do that. I'd love to help. I do love the band, but like I feel like inadequate, in doing that.
Mm.
And like, he's so amazing out. And dude, this is literally what happened. I promise you. And this is so fucked up and so funny and so funny. And like I say in this moment, think okay, so he's like, do you want to be in this band? And I was like, look, uh I'm not a great singer. I was like, my voice cracks a lot. I'm 14. I'm
Yeah.
really insecure about this, right? Like I'm in the back of a car singing my heart out, but I'm also sounding like Morty. Like I
Mhm.
I can't I
Rick.
yeah, I know I can't do it, but I want to, but I can't. So I'm feeling like really bad, but I'm just like and I say to him, what if my friend Dominic does it? I know he plays guitar. He's like about the same level of guitar playing as I am, but I think he has a better singing voice. Maybe he should just do it. Steven, Steven, it turns out the whole time it was just Dominic just breaking my heart. Just
And
literally
you just not only being like such a humble person, but you the very person who is pranking you, you are suggesting to fill the role that is being offered you.
like it was perfect. It was perfect in like the most depressing, sad, like perfect circle story way. But holy crap, dude, that was a true story. And I was just like, the way my like freaking little 14-year-old heart broke, and I was just like, I never want to hang out with you again. I was
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
so shit.
yeah,
And like
and
I hope he felt bad
I hope
realizing
so
like
too, honestly. I
yeah.
mean, but like, oh, dude, that was so terrible.
I hope it's one of his 3 a.m. morning, like 3 in the morning, just a random thought of some bullshit you fucking did as a person. And
Oh my
you're just
God,
like, I hate me.
yeah. Why did I do
I,
this?
I hope you're one of his 3 a.m. thoughts.
I hope so. I'm like the five people he meets in heaven. I'm just like, "Nah, sorry, buddy, you're going downstairs.